Hi friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel Mechanical Engineering Exams Made Simple. We will see questions for mechanical engineering from the subject material science, which is useful for your Tsrtc upcoming examination, which will be notified very shortly, involving 3000 posts, in which there are a number of mechanical engineering posts like depot manager, supervisor mechanical, assistant engineer mechanical, etc. So we will see questions from material science. The metallic structure of mild steel is BCC. BCC. BCC means body centered cubic. The crystal of alpha iron is, it is body centered cubic, BCC. There is one atom at the center, and all other 6 faces will contribute half of the atom to the crystal structure, to the space of arrangement of atoms. Okay, so there are totally 6 into half, 3 plus 1, 4 atoms in the unit cell of BCC. A reversible change in the atomic structure of steel with corresponding change in the properties is known as, what is this? This is your allotropic change. Allotropic form means one metal existing in different forms like FCC, BCC, HCP, etc. Right. Paramagnetic alpha iron changes to gamma iron at which temperature? It is at 910 degrees centigrade. 910 degrees centigrade. This one. So isotropic material, they have property. So this is the isotropic material will have the elastic property, same elastic properties in all directions. Same elastic properties in all directions. That is called isotropic material. The question is that about that. The elastic stress strain behavior of rubber is, it is non-linear. Linear behavior, non-linear behavior, plastic behavior, etc. But it is non-linear. Right. Which of the following constituents of steels is softest and least strong? This is a good question, friends. It is ferrite. Ferrite, cementite, austenite, etc. But ferrite is having softest nature and it is least strong. Ferromagnetic alpha iron exists in temperature range of which range? It is below 723 degrees centigrade. Another range is 720 to 910. Then another range is 910 to 1535, which is the melting point of the pure iron. The number of electrons in 1 centimeter cube of metal would be of the order of, this is a good question, friends. It will be 10 to the power of 22, very high, millions of millions. The ultimate tensile strength and yield strength of most of the metals when temperature falls from 0 degrees to 150 degrees, what will happen? It will increase rather than decreasing. Slow plastic deformation of metals under a constant stress is known as, this is a good question, friends. It is creep. Fatigue is different. It is the behavior under variable loading conditions like tensile compression, alternative torque, anti-clockwise clockwise torque, and sagging and hogging bending moment. That is your fatigue behavior. Endurance is limited to fatigue only. Plastic deformation is the deformation in the plastic range. That means after the yield point. The ultimate tensile strength of low carbon steel by working at high strain rate will, what will happen? It will increase. Mild steel belongs to the following category. It's a good question, friends. It is going to belong to the category of low carbon steel. That means 0.1 to 0.3 percentage. Low carbon steel. But it's still less than 0.1. That's called mild steel. Low carbon steel is 0.1 to 0.3. Medium carbon steel is carbon percentage in iron, with iron. Remaining is iron. Okay, for example, 0.1 to 0.5, maximum is 0.5. 99.5% will be iron and 0.5% will be carbon. Basically, steel is an alloy of iron and carbon. Okay, 0.1 to 0.3% of carbon in iron is remaining iron is known as the medium carbon steel, and 0.6 to 1.3% of carbon in iron is known as the high carbon steel. These percentages you have to remember. The ability of a material to resist softening at high temperature is known as, what is this? This is hard hardness. That means it will become soft at high temperatures only. Hard hardness. In compression, a prism of brittle material will break by shearing along oblique plane. Shearing along oblique plane. Even in the buildings also, friends, you see that your cracks will be at 45 degrees angles. Okay, so here the shear stress will be maximum. Malleability of a material can be defined as, what is this? It is defined as the ability to undergo large permanent deformation in compression. So compression is the keyword over here. Tension, it is different. Okay, it is ductile. For the allotropic forms of iron, the points of arrest are, this is a good question, friends. The points of discontinuity. Ductility of a material can be defined as, what is this? Just now I was referring to. It is the ability to undergo large permanent deformation in tension. In compression it is malleability. In tension it is ductility. The percent of carbon in pig iron. This is a good question, friends. Normally often asked. Pig iron, wrought iron, cast iron, etc. So here he is asking the percentage of carbon in pig iron. It is 4 to 4.5%. Very high. Up to 2% is known as cast iron. Below 2% it is known as steels. The remaining being iron percentage. In steels, iron and carbon is the are the constituent elements in a steel. Steel is an alloy of iron and carbon. Percentage of carbon in grey cast iron is usually varies between. Once again, a good question. It is 2.5 to 4.5%. Pig iron is the name given to what? It is given to the product of blast furnace made by reduction of iron ore. So here remember, you have to remember blast furnace. Blast furnace corresponds to pig iron. Open hearth is like that. Okay, blast furnace, another different types of furnace are there. The product of furnace, different furnaces are given different names. Unique property of cast iron is its high. It's a good question, friends. High damping characteristics, because of which it is used as the machine bed tables. Machine beds, because in the when you are machining a component, lot of vibrations will be produced because of to reduce those vibrations. Otherwise, the surface finish will be very not very good. So to reduce that, you have to reduce the vibrations when you are machining a component on a machine, for example, lathe machine, etc. Okay, so this is this property of by which it is able to reduce the vibrations or damping out the vibration is known as the what is known as, this is known as the damping characteristic. It is the characteristics of cast iron. That's why normally machine table beds are made of cast iron. Cast iron is characterized by minimum of following percent of carbon. I was just now referring to, friends, 2%. In grey cast iron, carbon is present in the form of, once again a good question, it is in the form of flakes. So how the flakes will be? Something like this. Okay, friend, like this. Right. In nodular iron, graphite is in the form of, it is in the form of spheroids, small like this. It will be in this particular shape. In malleable iron, carbon is present in the form of, he is giving different forms here. It is nodular aggregate of graphite, neither flakes nor spheroids. Wrought iron is, questions can be asked on different forms of iron, wrought iron, cast iron, pig iron, etc. So you have to be familiar with them. Wrought iron is heat treated to change its, highly resistant to corrosion. Because of which it is made as the tubes carrying chemical liquids. For example, heat exchanger tubes. Sulfur in pig iron tends to make it. It is going to make it hard. Sulfur is very responsible for making pig iron very hard. Pick up the wrong statement about wrought iron. It is made by adding suitable percentage of carbon to molten iron and subjecting to product to repeated hammering and roll. This is the wrong answer regarding the, what is this? A wrought iron. Iron is, it's a good question friends, it is ferromagnetic. There are different types of magnetism, paramagnetism, ferromagnetism, dielectric, paramagnetic, but iron is ferromagnetic. That's why it's named ferrous. Ferrous means iron only. Iron is ferromagnetic. A reversible change in the atomic structure of the steel with a corresponding change in the properties is known as, this is known as allotropic change. Allotropic questions are, number of questions are asked on allotropy. That means existing in different forms at different temperature ranges. For example, your iron, alpha iron, gamma iron, okay, delta iron, etc. Chilled cast iron has, it has no graphite. It's a good question friends. No graphite at all. Chilled cast iron. Cast iron has, it has its elastic limit close to the ultimate breaking strength. So there is no demarcation between elastic limit and ultimate breaking strength. But whereas for steel it is something like this. Okay friend, this is your elastic limit, this is your breaking strength, right? But here this is a mild steel stress strain diagram. Okay, stress strain diagram. For this brittle material like stress strain diagram, it will be something like this only, right? So there is no demarcation between ultimate tensile strength and elastic limit or yield point. White cast iron contains carbon in the form of, this is a good question once again, cementite. White cast iron, cementite, austenite, ferrite, various forms are there. Right. In molten cast iron, carbon is available in, it is available in partly in free and partly in combined state. Molten cast iron. An important property of high silicon, 12 to 18% cast iron, is the high hardness. Hardness is most of the times required for mechanical elements. An important property of malleable cast iron in comparison to gray cast iron is its high ductility. So malleable cast iron has more ductility compared to gray cast iron. Malleable means what? Formed under compression. Steel contains what? Steel contains 50% more iron. Carbon steel is, what is carbon steel? It is an alloy of iron and carbon with varying quantities of phosphor and sulfur. So you have to underline phosphor, sulfur, and sometimes to make you confuse, silicon will be given. So you have to forget that. So carbon steel is an alloy of iron and carbon but with very small quantities of phosphorus and sulfur. Annealing of white cast iron results in production of what? Production of malleable iron. Killed steels are those steels, this is a good question once again, which are deoxidized in the ladle with silicon and aluminium. So you have to remember deoxidization, that's called killing. Hardness of steel depends on what? It is going to depend upon the shape and distribution of carbides in iron, like flakes, etc., spheroids, etc. We have seen just now for various forms. Maximum percentage of carbon in ferrite is, this is 0.025%. This percentage is very, very important friends. You have to remember simply. Maximum percentage of carbon in austenite is, it is D, 1.7%. Corrosion resistance of steel is increased by addition of what? It is increased by addition of chromium and nickel. Nickel, chromium are very important elements for increasing the corrosion resistance, nickel and chromium. In which of the following cases consideration of creep is important? It is in the gas turbine blades, because they are subjected to different heating and cooling cycles, okay, during the operation. That's why it is very, very important for gas turbine blades. Creep property is very, very important. In fact, it is defined as the permanent plastic deformation or plastic deformation with respect to temperature. Creep, time dependent temperature deformation, plastic deformation is called creep. We put it in one word. The most effective inhibitor of grain growth when added in small quantities is, this is your vanadium. So you are arresting the grain growth, will increase in the hardness, etc. So to that, from that point of view, vanadium is very, very important. Depth of hardness of steel is increased by addition of, once again a good question, chromium. depth of hardness is very very important for the mechanical components like your pulleys, then your gears, etc. Okay friends, we will see one more question and then stop here. So in the next video we will see some more questions useful from your point of view of your examination. Railway rails are normally made of what? They are made of high carbon steel railway rails. Friends, we have seen very good important questions from your depot manager point of view, assistant mechanical engineer point of view, and also mechanical supervisor trainee point of view for your TSRT examination, which is to be conducted on the notification for which is to be released very shortly. So if you are preparing for the examination, please contact me on 9912507633. I am giving online coaching for this particular examination. Let us meet in the next video very shortly.